love iPads. I mean, what's not to love? They are super portable, super functional, and thanks to iPadOS, the whole tablet experience is as seamless as ever. So that is why whenever Apple releases a new iPad, I'll get super excited for it. And the new M1 iPad Pros are no exception. But now, the only question is, should you get the 11-inch or should you get the larger 12.9-inch version? I've been using the 10.9-inch iPad Air for about a year now, and I've been looking for an upgrade. At first, I thought the 11-inch version should be enough because I like the size of it. But then again, the 12.9-inch iPad Pro now comes with a brand new mini LED Liquid Retina XDR display. So I thought, hey, maybe I should get the larger one. Let's start off this video by comparing the physical size and weight difference between the two iPads. The 11-inch model is actually really light, almost similar to the iPad Air I used previously, while the 12.9-inch iPad Pro is probably 50% heavier than the 11-inch one. When you actually hold these iPads in your hand, the 11-inch one feels so much more natural and overall it has a more comfortable grip. If you like playing games on the iPad or if you own Apple Arcade, you will definitely appreciate the smaller footprint of the 11-inch version since you can reach the controls easier with them. I don't like using the 12.9-inch iPad Pro in hand, but that doesn't mean that there's no benefits to a bigger screen size. And personally, I prefer to draw on larger surface because there's plenty of space for you to rest your hand on it. But most of the time though, I use the iPad with the Magic Keyboard on. And honestly, I definitely prefer watching Netflix and browsing through the internet with the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. It gives a more laptop-like feel compared to the 11-inch version because of the bigger screen. The Magic Keyboard is also bigger on the 12.9-inch, so it is more natural to type as well. But size differences aside, the design of the new iPad Pros are actually pretty similar to its predecessor. There's the same thin black bezels and rounded edges on the sleek aluminium chassis, which is simple, and it is also one of the reasons why I love iPads so much. And also because they are very yang looking lah. But if we are talking about features, one of the biggest differences between the two iPads is definitely their displays. The 12.9-inch comes with a brand new mini LED Liquid Retina XDR display, while the 11-inch features a regular Liquid Retina display instead. What this means is that the 11-inch iPad Pro only packs 72 LEDs in its display for backlighting, while the 12.9-inch model features over 10,000 mini LEDs. Because there are so many mini LEDs packed in the screen, it is able to target light across the display more evenly and accurately than before. There's also 2,500 local dimming zones in the new 12.9-inch iPad Pro. With the help of these local dimming zones, the LED screen will be able to dim in certain areas to give truer blacks. I know all of this sounds complicated, but let's take a look how it works in real life. So basically, it is able to get much brighter than before. It can reach 1000 nits of full screen brightness compared to the 11-inch version, which can only reach 600 nits of max brightness. If you put them side by side, you'll notice that the blacks are noticeably deeper on the 12.9-inch iPad. Those black bars on the top and bottom kind of just blend in into the bezels. But to be honest, I'm actually pretty happy with the display on the 11-inch iPad. The colors are still good, they are vibrant and sharp. Yes, it might not be quite as good as the 12.9-inch version, but it is still a very good screen. Besides, screens are typically not the top of my priority when it comes to purchasing an iPad. What I care about the most is functionality. The M1 processors in the new iPad Pros are fast, and in benchmark, they are actually faster than previous Gen A12Z Bionic. That means these iPads basically have no issues on keeping up with my day-to-day task. Both of them handle all my usual tasks with ease, whether it was web browsing or even drawing on the iPad Pros. I can even type scripts on my Google Docs while multitasking with other apps like YouTube and Chrome, which by the way, there are like over 10 to 15 tabs open. And most of the time, I have two apps running in split screen and it has no problem whatsoever in keeping with my constant app switching. I think most people like me aren't going to make full use of what the M1 chip has to offer. After all, most iPadOS apps are optimized to run well across the entire range of iPads. But of course, there's also people who appreciate the extra power, especially if you are someone who got this device solely for the purpose of intense video editing or graphic design. And if you are, you will definitely be happy with the power it holds. And before I forget, the new iPad Pros also comes with the new Thunderbolt port. It still offers the same USB-C connectivity as before, but now you can actually have faster data transfer speeds if you were to connect it with Thunderbolt supported external drives. And if you need a bigger screen to work with, you can always hook the iPad Pro up and pair it with an external monitor. In terms of battery life, the 12.9-inch version can last me for around 9 hours of continuous use, while I get around 10 hours of screen on time on the 11-inch version. But that also really depends on what you're actually doing with it. For my case, I use iPads mainly for watching Netflix and using Procreate to draw. So I think that's pretty decent considering the things I do on the iPad Pros. The speakers of the iPad Pros are also exceptional. Then again, this isn't surprising when it comes to Apple speakers. It doesn't matter if it's iPhones, MacBooks or iPads. Every time I get to use one of these devices from Apple, I know the speakers are going to be the best and they deliver. There are 4 speakers with a tweeter and woofer at each corner which automatically adjust to the orientation you're holding the device. And they sound great, the volume's rich and full without being distorted at higher volumes. So now we have talked about the speakers, let's move on to the iPad Pro's camera. And they've actually made some improvements to it. At the back, nothing has changed from last year. You are still getting a 12-megapixel main camera and also a 10-megapixel ultra-wide sensor along with a LiDAR scanner for accurate depth sensing. That's for those who want to take portrait photos, but I think iPad Pro users are more likely to use it for AR apps than photography. I've personally tried the LiDAR scanner on the new iPad Pros and I actually have fun using it. For example, I've tried the app called Measure and you can actually download for free on Apple's App Store. So Measure is like an alternative to a physical ruler and also a tape measure. With this app and also LiDAR, you can measure the distance between 2 points, determine the dimensions of an object, and you can also find out if a surface is straight. I think this app can be pretty useful, especially if you're out of your house and don't have a proper measuring tool with you. Another fun app that I've discovered is called Playground AR Physics Sandbox. On this app, you can place virtual blocks in a real environment to see how they interact with each other. You can also choose various blocks from cubes to model triangles and you can just randomly place it on your floor or even your table. The best part for me is that you can stack the blocks to see how high you can go until it falls. I think this is also a pretty interesting app, especially if you want to keep your kids occupied. But that's not the best part about the iPad Pro's camera. What's interesting about the new iPad Pros are their front cameras. The 7-megapixel camera has been replaced with a 12-megapixel sensor for both the iPads now. There's also the option to keep yourself in frame if you're planning to move around while you're on a video call. Besides that, there's also an ultra-wide option on the selfie camera which gives you a 120-degree field of view. I think that's pretty useful, especially if you have all of your family members gathering around for a video call with your relatives or friends. Okay, so now all of that sounds good, but what about the price? The 11-inch iPad Pro has a starting price of 3,499 ringgit for the base model and it can go as high as 8,449 ringgit. The base model for the 12.9-inch version has a starting price of 4,799 ringgit and it can go all the way up to 9,749 ringgit. So now the question is, if you are planning to get the new M1 iPad Pros, should you just get the 11-inch or should you fork out more money to get the 12.9-inch version? Personally, I would choose the 11-inch version. I just feel like it's a more convenient tablet to bring around compared to the 12.9-inch iPad. The only main difference that you are going to miss out is definitely the larger display and also the mini LED display. But other than that, you are basically getting the same experience as you will get on the 12.9-inch version. There's the powerful M1 chip, the same accessory support and good speakers. Plus, you also get to save almost 1,000 ringgit if you are getting the 11-inch iPad. So, what about the 12.9-inch version? Who is it for? Well, I think if you really wanted the extra screen size or if you are really particular about the quality of the screen, then definitely the 12.9-inch is a better option. Plus, it is also a better device for media consumption, drawing and also editing videos, cause I know that if I were to edit videos intensively on the iPad, I would definitely want the extra screen. But personally, I wouldn't fork out the extra 1,000 ringgit just to get the extra screen. But what about you guys? Do let me know what are your thoughts on the comment section below. So that's it for the review of the two new M1 iPad Pros. So if you have any questions regarding the new tablets, remember to put them down in the comment section below and I'll definitely look into it. Alright, so as usual, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like our video if you liked it and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already, and also click on the notification bell icon so you won't miss out any of our future videos. And I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!